thing my parents struggle with especially is wanting to know, how did my sister get to be this way? Being a parent of a narcissist is unique in that you can feel responsible for the kind of person they've turned out to be. Are people born narcissists? Is it part of their personality? Is there something that triggers it? We were remembering she started having what you would call tantrums in her early 20s after she broke up with her boyfriend of 5 years. Not sure if that was an early sign.
Couple of different things here. From what I've read, many experts on this topic believe that it is something that's just in the wiring. So not dissimilar to, we're all somewhere on the autistic scale, but some people have autism because they are further up the scale, and that's also a wiring thing. Now, some people believe that these things can be induced. Here's what I would say. I'm not so worried about the origin of where it came from. And I think the only reason we get worried about the origin of where something comes from is because we believe we should have the capacity to change it. And if we could only figure out how it had got there, we could change it. And I think with families, what you also have to remember is families are all different. And I think we forget this. Just because we come through the same genetics, the souls are so different. And it's quite common that a soul arrives in a family that's wildly different to the rest of them. Some of you may be that soul. I know I'm quite different to my core nuclear family, but I also know, I'm sure if I speak to any of them, they will all feel different too. So what I would say is, my instinct with her is it was kind of in her. And it was perhaps a little bit latent, but it came out when she was able to. And also pain. You know, I think if people experience pain and they cover it over and they don't know how to get help with it, then they can put behaviors over the top of pain. For example, narcissistic behaviors that can be very difficult to navigate or be around. So I would say, I wouldn't, if I were you, if I were in your position, the family, I think the first thing is to accept who she is and what she's become. I think you shouldn't shy away from being honest with her when the timing is right about her behavior, because, it's not going to be good if you just let her bleed all that into the family. And equally, it may be difficult for you guys to have a relationship with her from time to time or for a long period of time. But I would say be as honest as you can. I think with family members, especially if we're worried things are going to disrupt or break, honesty is the best policy, but without judging or labeling the other person. Again, it's always about speaking to them as to how their behavior is affecting you. So, hey, I know you're really upset, but what you just said is quite hurtful. Are you aware of that, or do you think what you just said is fine? Asking a question and seeing what capacity they have for self-awareness, because usually the narcissist doesn't have much. So I suspect that if you guys feel that that's who she is and that's what you're seeing, then you're correct. And accept that you have a family member that it's going to be different and difficult to interact with, and come at it from that standpoint rather than worrying too much how it happened. But what does come across in what you say is no part of you seems to believe that the family did this to her. You almost seem in shock that it's happened in the family. So I get that it's latent behavior that she managed to. I'm sure if you go back into childhood, you'll see some of the tendencies. You'll see some of the stuff, because usually it can't lie dormant that much unless she isn't a narcissist. She went through some trauma, and this is her way of dealing with the trauma, which is also why communication can be good. And, it could be opening up a conversation. Hey, sis, can we talk? Are you unhappy? And is there anything I can do to help you be happier? Just having a general, what do you mean? Why do you think I'm unhappy? Because you're often angry about things, and you say how unhappy you are about certain things, and I'm just, not quite sure, is that true, or is that just you making a joke? Having some inquiry with them about who they are can be very revealing as to whether or not they are somebody who is dealing with that level of personality disorder, or there's somebody who's dealing with something that they've hidden. So I hope that helps, and thank you for your question.